Hi, it's Dr. Smith from Wigston Central Surgery with another video to help us work well together to provide you with the best care that we can. Now, periodically on these videos, I put an email address where you can get in touch with ideas about possible videos that we might want to make. And at the end of last year, someone messaged me and said, "We really like these videos. I wonder if you could make one on the topic of how you manage mental health." So if that was you who sent that in, thank you very much. The topic of mental health is a huge and very important one, but I'll do my best now to try and cover some of the main themes in how we manage mental health and also what you can do to help your own mental health yourself. So as we try and cover this big topic of mental health, I want to talk about four things. The first thing I want to talk about is self-help. What can you do to help your own mental health? The second thing I want to talk about is counselling. The third thing I want to talk about is medication. And then the fourth thing I want to talk about is the role of psychiatrists and hospital doctors in the management of mental health. So firstly, self-help. What can you do to help your own mental health? Well, there's a whole host of things that you can do here, and I'm going to run through them and possibly even give experiences from my own experience of how I try and manage my own mental health. The first one is to look after your physical health. If you look after your physical health, you'll find that greatly beneficial with your mental health. So there's different ways that you can do this. Personally, I really value exercise. Some of you who know me will know that I actually cycle to and from work. For me, that's a massive help for my mental health. It greatly helps me. When you do exercise, you actually release endorphins, which make you feel good, but actually looking after your physical health is a great thing to look after your mental health as well. For you, that might mean something different. It might mean trying to avoid using drugs or alcohol as part of managing your mental health, or it might mean trying to lose a little bit of weight or eating a bit more healthily. Anything that you can do to try and help your physical health, you'll find that that has a knock-on positive effect with your mental health. The second self-help thing I suggest is being part of a community. And I think as a society generally, we probably don't do this as well as we used to. For me, a big part of community that helps my mental health is being part of a church. But I know there's lots of other different communities in our city and around Leicestershire that are greatly beneficial for people. So find a community, people that you can talk to, people that you trust, people that you can discuss mental health with, and people that can support you. I think that's massively important as one part of the jigsaw puzzle of how you can help your mental health. Another self-help thing that you can do is to try and have routine. One of the hardest things is if you've been used to working, being out of work, or you've been used to a certain routine, being out of routine. Because when you get out of routine, it's very easy to get into habits that actually are damaging to your mental health. So I'd encourage you to try and get into a routine. It might be a very simple routine, like getting outside each day at a similar time, or getting out doing walks, or trying to have a similar sleep routine each evening. But we know that routine, as a general rule, is beneficial for us as we try to help our mental health. And the other self-help thing I wanted to mention are apps and websites, resources that are out there to try and help you with this. One common app that people use is Headspace. Headspace is an app that encourages you to engage with mindfulness. Mindfulness is meditation that tries to help you focus on the here and now, to help you manage stress and anxiety and sleep issues and lots of other things as well. There's lots of other apps that can do that too. One website I'd like to point you in the direction of is Mind. Mind is a charity that seeks to help people by building up your resilience, your ability to bounce back from difficult situations, and also give you tools to be able to help manage your own mental health challenges. So there's loads of different self-help things that I wanted to mention in terms of mental health, and I think it's really important that we acknowledge that. Because all of us at some stage in our lives will have dips in our mental health, and it's really important that we have the tools in our armoury to be able to try and take that on. So remember those things: look after your physical health, seek out community, look to have routine, and look what resources are out there to be able to help you manage your mental health. But what if you've done those self-help things and you feel that you do need more help or input from an expert? Well, counselling might be something that's really beneficial for you. Counselling or talking therapy has been around for a very, very long time, and for a number of people with mental health problems, it's been proven to be really, really beneficial as they work through the challenges that they've got and try and help manage their mental health. Just like I was saying with the self-help techniques, it's beneficial to have as many different things in your armoury as you try to tackle mental health problems, and it's possible that counselling might be something else that's beneficial. Sometimes this is talking therapy, where you're just talking to an expert and they're able to listen and talk through some things that you might find helpful in terms of managing what you're going through. Or sometimes counselling may actually lead to cognitive behavioural therapy, where a therapist will look at the challenges you've got and try and talk through how you can not let those challenges continue to define the way you are now, but maybe move forwards, shape the way that your brain is thinking about these things and look forwards in a different way. So there's all sorts of different things that can be available through counselling. The local NHS service is called Vitamines, and that can actually be accessed by yourselves as a self-referral by ringing this number. I'll put it along the bottom. There are of course other private organisations that can provide counselling too, and I just wanted to mention one of them, which is the Leicester Counselling Centre. The Leicester Counselling Centre is set up as a private organisation, as a private charity. That means that when you go to see a counsellor there, you do pay, but their heart is that counselling would be available for all. So if you're someone who doesn't have very much money, then actually that appointment will be cheap for you. That's the way that they run their business. So if you are waiting for an appointment on Vitamines, and sometimes there is a waiting list, it might be worthwhile exploring the option of Leicester Counselling Service, where the appointments do cost money, but hopefully not an inaffordable amount. Now, the third thing I wanted to talk about is medication. Medication is not helpful for everyone who has a mental health problem, but for a number of people it can be really beneficial. Now, online there's a number of really brilliant resources that give more detail about medication, how we think antidepressants might work and what some of the things to look out for in terms of side effects. And I'm not going to cover that in detail now. In fact, I'll put a link in the description below that will lead you to what I think is a really brilliant video about this. But I just wanted to talk about what it might look like when you're started on an antidepressant or a mental health medication by one of us at the GP practice. If I was to start you on a medication because I believe it might help with, for example, anxiety or depression, I might start on an SSRI, which is a type of antidepressant. Now, if I start that medication, I probably wouldn't expect you to see any benefit from that for 2 or 3 weeks. And so at the moment of starting it, I'll be wanting to make a follow-up appointment to see you in maybe 3 or 4 weeks' time, when we'll be able to catch up about how you're getting on with that medication and whether you started to see any benefit. Now, it might be at that stage that we feel this medication is the right one for you, but you need to have a change of dose. Or it might become apparent for a variety of reasons that this tablet is not one that suits you, and we might wish to change the tablet altogether. As a general rule, we would continue to make follow-up appointments with you until we were happy that you were on an appropriate medication that was helping you and at the dosage that seemed to suit you. And if we reached that point and we agreed that we wanted to continue with it, we would then put it on a repeat prescription and make a plan to review in a sort of planned length of time afterwards, maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 months, whatever seems appropriate at the time. Now, it's worthwhile pointing out that when we start antidepressants, we probably have a fairly long-term plan in mind. This isn't just a tablet you're going to take for a week or two. In reality, the shortest length of time that we would expect someone to be on an antidepressant would be maybe between 3 and 6 months. So it's worthwhile having that in mind if you're having a conversation with one of us about whether you would benefit from going on medication to help your mental health. So we've talked about self-help, we've talked about counselling, we've talked about medication, and the final thing I wanted to talk about is when we might need to refer you on to get some specialist input from a psychiatrist or another specialist. So when might that be the case? Well, that's in a number of scenarios. One of them might be if we've reached a real crisis point and your mental health is so low that you need an assessment done that day to see what can be done to help pull you out of the particular difficulty that you're in. And we might actually make a same-day referral to the crisis team when some specialists will come and see you that day and see how they might be able to help you with your mental health. We may also reach out to a psychiatrist if we've tried some of these measures that we've talked about already, including trying some medication, but we're finding that we're unable to manage the symptoms and the difficulties that you're going through. Now, what might happen if we do refer you on to see a psychiatrist? Well, often they will change your medications or put you on a different combination of medications to see if they can manage the symptoms that you have. They might see you for a number of years, or they might just see you for a short time and then refer you back to us for us to continue your ongoing care. But it's important to be aware that these services are available. We don't want to start you on medication and then it not be working for you and you not let us know. Do let us know, and sometimes we do need to involve psychiatrists or other specialists to try and help your mental health. It's worthwhile noting that we also have some mental health facilitators working in the building. Now their role is to be an in-between between the psychiatrists in the hospital and the GPs here. So we might feel you have a mental health problem that maybe doesn't need an urgent assessment in the hospital, but might benefit from a bit more specialist input. And in that situation, we'll often get the mental health facilitator involved who works here in the practice. They work alongside us to again try and provide you with the care that you need to best manage your mental health. So we've looked at how we can help ourselves, we've thought a little bit about counselling, we've talked about medication, and we've also thought about the further services that as a GP I might refer you to. As you can see, mental health is a huge topic and there are lots of things out there to try and help support and treat people who struggle with mental health conditions. If there's anything from this video that you found particularly challenging or anything that's led you to want to make an appointment, then please don't hesitate to get in touch and make an appointment to talk to someone about your mental health. And do keep sending in ideas for things that we can make these videos about. We want this to be something that's helpful for you as we try to improve the care that we can provide. I hope that has been helpful and we'll see you soon.